Welcome everyone to a sunny Superior day. You know, we have to take advantage. We have to take pride when we have a sunny day, especially with the way that the weather has been lately. Well, welcome to the second annual Dr. Lydia Thering and Ms. Joan Hedrick Academic Enrichment Lecture Fund. We're very excited to have you here today. We're very excited to have Amanda here today too as our guest speaker. My name is Jean Thompson and I serve the university as Vice Chancellor for University Advancement. And again, we are thrilled to have you here. When Dr. Thering first approached me about 4 years ago about the idea of this lecture series, it was her and Joan's goal, and Joan passed away in 2015, to provide free lecture and other learning opportunities that would enhance the visibility of UW Superior as a liberal arts institution with areas of focus being health, wellness, and community relevant topics for the enrichment of the university community as well as the greater region. Dr. Thering and Ms. Hedrick both served the university for a combined total of 70 years. They taught in the physical education department. Both gained faculty emeritus status upon retirement for their dedication to education, women's sports, and commitment to health and well-being. They were trailblazers on this campus for women's sports and sports in general, but women's sports especially. I'm sorry to say that Dr. Thering can't join us tonight. She really wishes that she could be here. I would quickly like to take this opportunity to thank our external Thering Hedrick Lecture Advisory Council. Members are Amy Starzecki from the School District of Superior, Nick Alexander from the Superior Police Department, Joan Oswell from Millard Wan Foundation, Carly Horn with Essentia Health System, and Randy Barker and Janice Meyer with UW Superior. When the Advisory Council first met, they identified topics that are pertinent to our region. It was a unanimous decision to focus the first couple lectures on mental health. We understand the mental health crisis in our community, in our region, in our nation, and around the world. From the External Advisory Committee's recommendation, Randy Barker and Lori Tumanen, with our Pruitt Center for Mindfulness and Wellbeing, took on the task of organizing and managing the first lecture last fall. And now Catherine Gamond and the Continuing Education Department are managing the lecture series moving forward. Both Randy and Catherine assembled a star-studded campus committee that helped with everything from identifying speakers all the way through getting us all here tonight. So I'd like to thank Randy and Lori, Catherine, other committee members of Shannon Hoffman, Sarah Libben, Debbie Seguin, Nick Bursick, Allison Garber, Brandon Iverson, Janice Meyer, Ashley Shaw, Kim Labard-Rankala, and Tracy Johnson. If any of these committee, external or internal, are in the room, will you please stand? Come on, I know some of you are. Thank you for all your hard work. At this time, I'd like to introduce Chancellor Renee Wachter.
I just wanted to extend a very warm Yellow Jacket welcome to everyone in the audience, especially to our community members who have come to join us tonight to listen to this lecture. As Jean said, you know, mental health really is one of the topics that we're interested in. We know that we are struggling as a society at all levels with issues surrounding this topic. Now, I have to confess that I had a little bit of a cheat moment here earlier today. I had a chance to listen to Amanda Beard having a conversation with our young ladies in our athletic teams, talking about all kinds of things that people deal with and encounter in trying to manage work-life balance. How do you try to stay competitive, but also have a life? And the pressures that go along with it. And it was an engaging, charming conversation. So I think that you're in for a real treat tonight. So sit back, enjoy. There will be a Q&A session at the end. And I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Tom Hansen, who will introduce Amanda.
First off, thank you very much for coming tonight. Beautiful night here in Superior. So thank you, Renee. Three people that are very passionate about this university. Obviously, Dr. Renee Wachter, concerned about you, the students, faculty, staff, community, alumni, first and foremost. Thank you very much, Renee, for being a part of this. Jean, you and your staff, thank you very much as well. You're passionate about this university, not only today, yesterday, tomorrow, but decades to come. So thank you very much for that. And I also get to introduce our special featured guest today here in a moment. Before we do that, just a couple of housekeeping moments that I'd like to remind you about before we get started on this wonderful evening planned for you tonight. Amanda will be, as mentioned, a question and answer period afterwards will be available. She'll also sign some autographs, take some photos. For those that have pre-ordered her book, you'll be able to get connected with the continuing ed department, excuse me, and they will send you an email about how you can get that book. So it's not available yet tonight, but Catherine and her staff will certainly take that message and give it to you and make sure you have that information to get the book down the line. So as my students know, for those that don't know me, I'm Tom Hansen, Communicating Arts lecturer here, senior lecturer at the University of Wisconsin-Superior. Fortunate to be part of this campus. I'm also passionate, thanks to my wife, who I met while I was a student here. So thank you very much, Chris, for being very supportive of me and my career. But as my students that are here today know all too well, when we start class, what do we say, class? We say silence your phones, turn them off, or stow them in the overhead compartment. So if you can please be respectful for Amanda and please silence your phones. That would be outstanding if you could do that for her today. Also would like to do a couple more introductions here as well. First, before we get started, our sign language interpreters, Judy Helena is now sitting down. Judy, if you could just wave. Judy is one of the sign interpreters tonight. Thank you. And Dawn Stevenson. Dawn, thank you very much for sharing your specific talents with us tonight. Thank you very much. Let's hear it for those two for their help here today. Catherine, one more time. Thank you wherever you are, Catherine. We'll do the question and answers for you and your staff, and thank you very much. You have a lot in common with today's speaker. We're gonna do a little interactive game here first before we introduce Amanda. You have so much in common with our featured speaker today. You probably have no idea about that. Can you raise your hand? We'll start with a question. Who's jumped in the pool before? Who's gone swimming before in a river, a creek, a hot tub, Lake Superior? Who's actually jumped in water before? A lot of people. If you look around, that's a lot of people, right? All right. Here's question number 2. Who's been 14 years old before? Who's been 14 years? Who's been 14 years or more? Quite a bit. A lot of people. You have a lot in common with Amanda. Where we draw the line probably is who's been swimming in a pool at 14 at the Olympics in this room. Amanda, up high, up high. Okay. Amanda and I do go back. We didn't meet back in 1996, but I was also working the Atlanta Games in Atlanta in the summer of 1996. I was there for about 10 days prior to the Olympics. I may have been there even longer than Amanda was there. The difference being, when I left, I had a hat, t-shirt, and a coffee mug. Amanda left the Olympics in Centennial Olympic Park and the Olympics with a gold medal and 2 silver medals at 14 years old. You have a lot in common here with Amanda, having been in a pool and swimming at the age of 14. I could read all the accolades that she has had. 8 pages of bio information. You just go to amandabeardofficial.com for more information on that, or print that out. But what I want to share with you is what she's passionate about. Or you can buy her book, better yet, In the Water They Can't See You Cry, is the name of her author of the best-selling book. The titles that she is passionate about, like Renee is passionate about, like Jean's passionate about, like I am here for this university and helping you, your student athletes here at school. This is what's important to Amanda. This is the titles and the passion that she brings here tonight to Superior, Wisconsin. In her life, she is a lifelong swimmer, a model, author, best-selling author, broadcaster, brand representative in advertising, seven-time Olympic medalist, seven-time Olympic medalist. She was in the 96 Olympic Games with the medals, 2000 in Sydney, 2004 Athens, 2008 in Beijing, U.S. Olympic swimming team captain, world champion swimmer, Hall of Fame inductee at the University of Arizona, world record holder in swimming, motivational speaker. I'm just getting started. Businesswoman, CEO, owner of her company, Beard Swimming Co. But her passion right now is her family. Her husband, two children. That's what Amanda Beard is passionate about right now. And that's what brings her here to Superior. So one more time, if we can get Amanda Beard a welcome, a Superior welcome. Let's hear it for Amanda Beard, two-time Swimmer of the Year, Amanda Beard in Superior. It's Superior welcome. Welcome, Amanda.
Can you hear me? Okay, just making sure I unmuted correctly. Before we get started, thank you. That was amazing. Now I have to live up to that, so appreciate it. And I know I got to meet with a lot of the female athletes earlier today, so you guys already got to see some of my medals. So if you want to see them again, go for it. But I did bring a couple of my Olympic medals, and I know some of the coaches already saw them too. But I'm just gonna pass them around. So I know how many I brought, so just making sure. I am not fast on land, but I know some of these boys are fast on land, and I'll send them after you. So, I'll just tell you what they are real quick so that you know. So this is a gold medal from the 2004 Olympics, another gold medal from the 1996 Olympics, and then I also brought a bronze medal from the Sydney Olympics. So I left all the silvers at home. They're in retirement. I know. Some of the, okay, so raise your hand if you're an athlete here or an athlete. Okay, perfect. I love it. I geek out on sports. I love all sports. So that's why I kind of wanted to wander around and talk to some of the athletes earlier, because I love all of it. It's kind of my passion in life. My kids my son is a baseball player. My daughter's a softball player. So that's why I gravitated over towards some of the baseball players over there to see what position you guys played. And you guys are having a great season, I heard. Is your coach here? I see him. He's being shy. Kudos, coach. Keep the season going. Awesome. What other sports do we have in the building? So I know I saw a lot of the females today, and we have softball and track, soccer, volleyball, basketball. What am I missing? Tennis. Any hockey? Do you guys have hockey here? Hockey? Well, I don't know. I'm from the West Coast. I grew up in Southern California and then moved to Arizona. So ice is weird for me. I like it when it's nice and melted and heated. So, okay, what other sports do we have in the building that I did not mention? Well, do we have swimmers in the building? All right, yes, golfers. I met a kid today that does trap shooting. So it's pretty cool. I just wanted to quickly tell you a little bit of a story about myself, and then be able to open it up for some question and answers in the group setting. And then after that, if you wanted to ask me anything more privately or something, if you're being too bashful or shy and don't want to raise your hand and talk in front of everybody, then you can come up and ask questions. Or if you would like to take any pictures or anything, or pictures with the medals, feel free to. So everyone doing good on a nice sunny day? I'm enjoying it. So like I said, I grew up in Southern California. It's kind of, everybody has to learn how to swim there. There's the ocean, everybody has a pool in their backyard. So it's a really important life skill. So when I was little, 6 months old, my mom took me to the Mommy Me classes and started that way. By the time I was 4 years old, I actually started on a swim team, and I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Just joined my local summer league swim team. I also played soccer. I also played flag football and basketball. I did softball for a little bit, and I did gymnastics. And then my mom made me do dance classes. That was probably like the only, like, I just don't move that way. So, but like I was saying, I just absolutely love sports. But there was something about swimming that really spoke to me, that made sense to me. Probably like a lot of you with your sports, where it just kind of just felt natural, felt at home. So I started on my summer league swim team, had a lot of fun. My older sisters both swam, and I thought I was amazing. Let's just be honest. I thought I was super cool. I was undefeated for about 2 years in my summer league team. When I was 9 and 10, I was like, I am really doing good at this swimming thing. I'm amazing. No one can beat me. And that summer, it was the 1992 Olympics, and I watched Summer Sanders. I know the back half of the room might not know this, but anybody know who Summer Sanders is? Okay. She was a swimmer, and she was amazing. Brought home a bunch of medals from the Olympics, and I watched her swim. I was 10 years old, and I watched, and I was like, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna be an Olympic swimmer. I went over to my mom and dad and told them, and they kind of giggled at me, because you're 10, you're 11, right? Yeah, so around the same age. So I went up to them, I said, I'm gonna swim in the Olympics. And they're like, oh, you're so sweet, love it, so cute, adorable, you go girl. And little did they know though, as an athlete, I had a switch that turned in my brain, and I was focused on that. At that time, I was just kind of swimming a couple months out of the year, not a big deal, but I wanted to kind of step it up a notch. So I talked to my parents and I said, I really want to join the club team. I want to swim year round. I really want to commit to swimming. And there was this really amazing program that was about a mile from my house. So my dad drove me down there and said, okay, we'll meet the coach. We'll do like a tryout, see how you do. And I went and I swam, and the coach made me swim all 4 strokes. Anybody not know anything about swimming? And it's okay if you don't. Okay, so there are 4 strokes in swimming: butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, freestyle. I had to go and show this coach that I could do all the strokes, basically that I wouldn't be a huge project on his team. And I dove into the pool and I swam for him, and the stroke called breaststroke, and it looks like a little froggy, right? I swam that, and he kind of looked at me and kind of like took a little step back and was like, girl, I don't know if you can be on my team. And I was like, what do you mean? But I'm undefeated. I'm good. I'm so good. But little did I know that there was a whole nother world of amazing athletes that I didn't even tap into yet. I didn't know even existed. And this coach was looking at my breaststroke, and he was pretty disgusted by it. He's like, okay, you can be on the team, but we got to fix this. This is pretty darn awful. So I joined that team. I think I was about 11, turning 12 soon, somewhere in that age group. I joined this team, practicing a lot. We had, at that age, I think 11, 12 years old, I had 6 practices a week. So a decent amount of practices. And the coach just was really unhappy with how my breaststroke looked. And he said, okay, we got to do something about this. We're going to have you stay after practice every single day until we fix this. And for all the athletes out there, and I know I asked some of the athletes earlier, who likes to stay after practice? Oh, I saw a hand go up. I saw a couple hands. So it's kind of like when you're done with practice, you're just mentally done. Who wants to go eat after practice? Yeah, let's be honest, right? All I wanted to do is I wanted to get in a hot shower and go home and eat. I don't want to stay after and get yelled at by my coach and me being told how I'm not doing something right. That's not fun. But I decided that I would commit to this. If this is what my coach thought I needed to do, I'm going to do this. Let's do it. So I stayed after practice, every practice, and just constantly worked on it. Worked on it, worked on it, worked on it. So what was going on was I actually had an illegal breaststroke. So every time I would swim it, they would disqualify me. So he was like, I don't even care how fast you're going to be. We just need to make this thing so you're not going to get disqualified. Like, we can't have that happen. And I was like, okay, I'll try. And I worked on it and worked on it and worked on it. And what I realized during that time is when I really started to focus on those details and putting that extra work in, I started to drop a lot of time, really started to fine tune everything, really kind of everything started to click a lot more. And little did I know, I just kept getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. So much so that by the time I was 13 years old, I qualified to be on the US national team, and I started traveling nationally and internationally with the team and competing. Well, I was 13, I was competing against 20-something-year-olds. So it was pretty cool, but I didn't think much of it. I just thought, okay, I'm a swimmer. My coach tells me what to do. I do it, and this is what's supposed to happen, right? Sure, why not? This is normal. This is the process. Just do what your coach says, and this is how it's supposed to be. By the time I was 14 years old, I went to does anybody know the process of swimming and how you make the Olympics? That was just like a really bizarre question. Some of you guys probably know. So you have to have time cuts. So you have a time cut, you make the Olympic trials. And so I went to the Olympic trials in 1996. And to qualify for the Olympic team, you have to be first or second in the whole US in your stroke, in your race, to then qualify for the Olympic team. And if you didn't know, the US has a really good swim team. So it's kind of a hard thing to do. But I was 14, I didn't really think about it. So I went to Olympic trials, I swam. I have two races that I swim. I swim the 100 breaststroke and the 200 breaststroke. And I went and I qualified for the Olympics in both of those races. And I was like, this is cool. This is so fun. So I'm gonna go swim at the Olympics. Again, I'm 14. So not really putting a lot of thought into it besides that, just kind of going along. They tell me where to go, what to do, and I just kind of go and I do it. So I go and I swim at the 1996 Olympics. And so that was the last time we had the Olympics in the US. Yes, very cool. Does anybody know when and where it will be the next time it's in the US? What? Los Angeles, yes. So this next summer, it will be in Paris. And then the next Olympics will be in LA. So it'll be really cool. So if you guys all want to travel all the way to the other side of the country, I say go for it. But so it was a really fun event to be on your home turf, lots of fans in the stands. I got to swim 3 events at that Olympics. So the gold medal that's being passed around with the green band, that's one of the medals I brought home from Atlanta. So I won that gold in a relay. So in a medley relay. Really cool, fun, get to be on the podium with your teammates. The other 2 medals that I won from that Olympics were both silver medals, which was very cool, I thought. So for how the awards go, you get your medal. Whoever gets gold obviously gets the top podium. Silver gets the second. And then they play the national anthem for whoever won the gold medal. So I stand there. That was a South African swimmer that won. So they played their national anthem. I just stood there kind of like, what do I do? There's lots of eyeballs on me. It's kind of like this situation right now. So you just kind of stand there and you're just like, I don't know what to do. You know, it's kind of an awkward situation to be in. Tons of TV cameras, tons of people in the stands. And so what happens after that is then they kind of parade you off the pool deck. You walk by the stands. I found my family. My family has been really great in supporting me and coming to all my events. I found my family in the stands. I was waving to them. I was pumped. I'm 14. I got a medal around my neck. I'm not thinking about much else. So I'm just kind of like, let's do this. And then they shuttle you like kind of into this media room. And it is actually about this size. They put you up on a stage, podium in front of you, and just like microphones all over the place, right? So everyone takes their mic and puts it in front of you, and cameras everywhere. And then it's just a free for all. They can ask you anything, right? And I'm 14 years old. So this is a very intimidating thing for me to go through. And let me just tell you, I'm a very, very, very immature 14-year-old. Like this is like such a weird kind of foreign concept. And so I'm sitting there like, I can do this, I can do this. Okay. Got my medal around my neck, I'm pumped. They're asking great questions. How does it feel to swim at the Olympics? Do you miss your family because you're separated from your family for so long? Just all these wonderful questions, right? I'm answering. And then this one individual says, Miss Beard, how does it feel to lose? And you're like, huh. Oh, well, it never even crossed my mind, like that I lost. I was so pumped on that silver medal. I was like, look at this. This is so cool. And then he asked that, and I was like, it was like someone just took me and threw me off my pedestal, right? And I kind of I didn't know what to say. I'm 14. If someone asked me that now, I could definitely come back with a really awesome answer. Probably nothing appropriate to say here. But I just kind of looked at him and I was like, well, I tried hard. I'm very proud. I didn't know. But that started this weird negative loop in my head. It just took that one comment, right? So in that whole process in that media room, I had a lot of wonderful questions that came at me, really positive, really great. And I don't remember any of them. I remember this one comment that this one individual made, and it just stuck. I was like, I went home from that Olympics truly believing and thinking that I just lost, that I let down my country, my coaches, my teammates, my friends, my family. I felt like everyone was going to be so disappointed in me because I didn't come home with 3 golds. I came home with a gold and 2 silvers. I lost. I couldn't shake this. I had all these different media interviews and all these different things that I would do. And I just almost felt like very ashamed of myself because I just felt like I wasn't that individual that walked into the Olympics like, let's do this. This is fun. I'm supposed to be here. Let's go. I was now this person that was doubting myself and thinking that I was a disappointment. Also what happened, if you ever go and look up pictures of me from when I swam in the 96 Olympics, you don't need to show everyone now.
Page 24.
I'm tiny. Like do I have my goggles on? I have no goggles on, huh?
That's correct.
Yeah. So I didn't even know how to swim with goggles on. Like I was so nervous to dive into the pool that I'd lose my goggles. I swam all my races without goggles. So all the pictures are very charming of me because I'm like cross-eyed and like snot coming out my face. And but I was about 5'2" and I was about 95 pounds. I was really tiny. The girl that beat me in my races, the South African swimmer, she looks like she ate me for breakfast. Like she was strong. Like she had some nice, strong arms, strong legs. She looked like this really strong, powerful athlete. And I looked like I was her little sister. Like, hey, I don't know how to wear my goggles. So I was like, when I said I was a very immature 14-year-old, it was very true. So what happened after the Olympics is I actually went through a huge growth spurt. So I went from about 5'2" to 5'8" and 95 pounds to about 125-ish pounds, somewhere in there. So has any athlete ever gone through a huge growth spurt in their career? And if you don't raise your hand, you're a liar. So I know all of you you were not this size when you were 2 and 3 years old. So, but what happens for athletes, for anyone really, when you go through a huge growth spurt, especially in such a short amount of time, now it's a different body. I had a completely different body to try to figure out and how to reprogram to be that swimmer and that athlete. So grew 6 inches this way. My wingspan was a lot longer as well. And now I'm carrying an extra 30-ish pounds with me in the water, which I know you guys all know how much 30 pounds weighs. That's not an insignificant difference, right? So when I used to go to the pool and I was like, hey, the coach tells me what to do, I just do it and things happen. This is great. Now none of that was going on. I'd go to the pool and I'd dive into that water and I just like felt very foreign to me. Didn't feel normal, didn't feel natural. I felt like I was constantly fighting against myself and hitting a wall, right? Do you ever have that day as an athlete where you just don't feel good? Like just nothing's working, right? Just nothing's happening, nothing's clicking, and you're just not there, right? Well, I had a whole bunch of years like that. So I had to kind of relearn how to swim. And that whole entire time, I'd have all of these people coming to my swim meets. So I would swim at all these meets around the US, and they'd pack the stands full of people. And I'd be standing on the blocks like, I didn't want anybody to watch me swim because I was not swimming well at all. So I would dive into the pool and I would really epically fail at my races and wouldn't even qualify to swim in finals, just really struggled a lot. And afterwards, I just kind of look up in the stands and just be like, I'm just disappointing people. All these people want to see something cool and something great, and I'm giving them blah, right? So I just kind of kept piling that on, kept kind of absorbing all of that negativity and just kind of like really, really being hard on myself. So what happened when I was about 16 years old, is I just came to a point in my swimming career where I just hated it. I didn't want to do it anymore. I was struggling too much, just physically couldn't handle it, mentally couldn't handle it, just beaten down so hard that I just was like, I'm done. I'm done. So what happened right before this moment was I swam at this one swim meet. And this was before, well, this was like dating myself all the time, but this was before like the internet and all that kind of stuff, no social media and stuff. So I swam at this meet. I swam awful. And all these newspaper articles came out about how I was washed up, how I was overweight, how I was a one-hit wonder, and you'll never see this girl do anything else in the swimming world ever again. And 15, 16 years old, you read that, what do you believe? You believe that, right? Like, I'm already have that negative loop going in my head. I read that and I go, yep, they're right. I'm done for. I'm quitting. I'm done. I'm out. So I went up to my coach and I told him, I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I'm not having fun. I'm struggling. It's just, I don't understand why I'm even trying. And my coach was oddly very kind about it. Coaches, they want their athletes, right? They want their athletes. They want them to perform. They want them to be amazing. They want all of that, but they can't jump into your bodies and make you do it, right? And my coach knew in that moment that I was done. He needed to kind of let me have that mental break and kind of let me figure things out. So we had a really great conversation about that. And then I talked to my dad about it. And my dad's like kind of my super fan, like a lot of other people's parents probably are, but he was like my like sports super fan. And so I talked to my dad about it, and I really thought, because that's what my dad and I connect over. He was a basketball player through college. We like sports. That's all we did. We watched sports all the time. And I felt like, I'm about to tell my dad I'm quitting my sport. I'm gonna be in big trouble. So I talked to my dad about it, and he's like, I understand. I get it. It's not easy. So I had these two huge influences in my life, my coach and my dad, who I was so nervous to tell them that I was walking away from my sport, both just really care for me on a very different level than just being an athlete. And it made me really understand that I existed on a different level, right? So when you do anything, when you're passionate about anything, you put your heart and soul into it and you think that's your only existence. Swimming was my only existence, or so I thought. I thought the only reason people liked me and talked to me was because I was a swimmer and I was successful at it. But having these conversations, I realized that I existed on a very different level to these people, and they cared a lot about who I was. So I quit swimming. I was 16, and my whole life was about to open up, right? So much social time. At that time too, I was doing 10 swim practices a week. So I was like constantly smelling like chlorine. And so I was like, I'm about to do some really cool stuff in my life. This is going to be amazing. I go home from school that day. I call my friend on the landline. Everybody knows what a landline is, right? Okay. Because I saw someone that did not know what a landline was. So landline, home phone, right? So I'm on my home phone. I call my best friend. Her name was Yvette. I said, I have nothing to do today. I have no practice. What are we going to do? And Yvette is like, oh, she's like, well, right now I'm watching Saved by the Bell. Anybody know? Okay. I'm watching Saved by the Bell. I have homework, and then I have to study for a couple exams coming up. And then I have to help my sisters with their homework. And then I have a couple chores that we're supposed to do. And then my mom wants me to start getting dinner ready and prepped for everyone. Like, she had no time to hang. I thought my friends were doing amazing things while I was at practice, like having a whole world of like social life that I didn't know existed, and realized I was missing nothing. I was missing extra chores. They're just doing extra chores and helping with dinner prep and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay. So what happened was a couple more weeks went by. No extra social life happened, kept going by. And I was like, oh, this is boring. I don't like this. I need my sports back in my life. And so I decided, I think I quit. It might have lasted 6 weeks. I don't know how long it lasted. It was long enough to realize that I was going to miss it, but it wasn't that long. And so I was like, I got to get back into swimming. This is really boring. So I went to my coach and I said, can I please be back on the team? I miss you guys. I really want to be back. I miss practices. I think both my coach and my dad both knew that this was going to be a very short quit that I had, because I am like uber competitive. And so if you guys want to play cards against me, I got you. Like pickleball, I'll kill you, right? Like I'm in, like this is going down. So even though I don't know how to play pickleball at all, I'm gonna school you. So I'm just really competitive, and I like thrive off of that. I have a lot of fun with it. So they both knew she's not gonna just sit at home and watch TV. That's not her DNA. So I ended up going back to swimming. It was a struggle. I was not swimming well. It was fine. Swam in meets, competitions. My senior year of high school, I ended up getting recruited, and I swam at the University of Arizona. So I signed at U of A. No U of A people in here. Huh. No, really? Oh, you went to U of A? That's so cool. I did not think I would get one Arizona person in here. That is really cool. Especially at a different university. That's very cool. I love that. And on the other side of the country. Well, bear down over there. So I went to the University of Arizona. At that time too, they had a reputation for being one of the hardest swim programs in the nation. Their coach at that time, his name was Frank Bush. He was a heavy distance, like just really punished you in the pool with your practices. So I had a lot of people question my decision going to U of A, but I was kind of in this mindset of I need something new. I need something different. I need to get outside of this bubble that I've been in my high school career and my high school coaches and my club coaches. So I joined, I went to University of Arizona, joined the swim program out there. My very first year out there was a year leading up to another Olympics. So the 2000 Olympics. So we're doing a quiz. Where was the 2000 Olympics? I hear it. So it was at Sydney, in Sydney, Australia, right? And so my life literally works off of a 4-year calendar because the Olympics are every 4 years. My kids are 4 years apart on purpose. Like, so literally everything is in a 4-year calendar in my life. So it's about to be the Sydney Olympics. We got the Olympic trials coming up again, and I'm getting really excited. And like I said before, going into Olympic trials, you got to be first or second in the whole US to make that Olympic team. And I'm going into this, I'm like, I'm gonna look up my US rankings. I'm gonna see where I am, see how good I'm doing. So I look up my 2 events that I swim. I look up the 100 breaststroke, and I'm like 22nd, 20th, somewhere right in there. I was like, ooh. It's not first or second, but I'm better at the 200 breaststroke. So I'm gonna go look up those rankings, see how I do on that one. So I go look up those rankings, and I'm like 11th or 12th, somewhere in there. And I'm like, not first or second. Ooh. I'm like, okay, I gotta like shove that aside and just really focus in on my training and kind of just like bear down, right? Just bear down and just like push forward. And so before I know it, the Olympic trials come up. So has anybody here, and some of you might have, ever been to an 8-day long swim meet? Oh, nice. No? Does that sound fun? So it's 8 days long, and it's an emotional roller coaster because people are crying because they don't make the Olympic team. People are celebrating. It's just like, it is like, when you leave that, it's like emotion, everything's gone, drained, done. So we're leading up to the Olympic trials. We're there. My first race that I have is the 100 breaststroke. So the way that this works out is you swim it in the morning time, right? So you have your morning swim, and then you have to qualify to swim it again in the evening and finals. At that time, we just swim twice, but so there's 8 lanes in the pool, right? So they take 8 people back for finals. So I swim my first event, the 100 breaststroke. Do you guys ever watch swimming on the Olympics? Okay, so the 100 is 2 laps in that pool. So I go for my 100 breaststroke in the morning. I step up on the blocks, I dive in, I qualify 8th, come back in 8th. Pretty good. I get a second swim. That's better. The little detail about being 8th place coming back is you get the worst lane in the pool. You get the lane way on the outside, right? So the best lane, the fastest lane, the best water is lane 4, right in the middle. You get clear water. Any waves that you make just goes away from you. When you're in the last lane and you're against a wall, all the waves come right back at you, right? All these waves come at you and these waves, and you can't see anyone. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. I'm in the outside, sure, whatever. So I go, I have my race that evening, the 100 breaststroke. I'm walking out for my race. I look miserable. I look scared out of my mind. I walk to my lane. And I'm like standing there behind my block. And I'm looking, there's 7 individuals that I'm swimming against, and they're all way amazing. And there's one girl that I'm swimming against. Her name was Megan. And she, same thing, way stronger than me. I mean, she was just demolishing people in the pool. Just like, I don't know why I was there. I looked at her and I was like, oh gosh, this could be bad. And I just looked scared out of my mind. And I just kept staring at them, just thinking, what am I doing here? This is so silly. And before I knew it, the official said, oh, swimmers, step up. You step up on the block and they say, take your mark, go. And I dove in, and I dove into the pool, and I felt awful. Literally like I dove into a whole bunch of pudding, like just felt heavy and slow. I kept choking on water. For all the swimmers out there, like, you don't get a lot of good air when you swim. So we picked a real winner of a sport where you just don't get to breathe very much. but that sometimes it's just extra. The waves are hitting me, I'm choking on the water, and I'm in that outside lane, and I have the way that you swim breaststroke, if you do it correct, you don't look, right? So your head's like this the whole time, up and down and up and down. And I have no idea what's going on in those lanes beside me. And I feel awful, feel heavy, things are hurting, I'm struggling to breathe. It's just like, in my mind, I'm thinking, let's just get this over with. I want this to be done. I'm just going, swim down, swim back, touch the wall. And I can hear people celebrating in the pool next to me. And I just was like, I look up at my name and I see 8 next to my name. And I just put my goggles on, started bawling my eyes out. I ran over to the warm down pool where you go swim and kind of flush out all that lactic acid out of your body. And I jumped in there and I just, bawling my eyes out, just started swimming back and forth. And I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, just leave me alone. Has anybody ever cried while they've swam in a pool? Now, you know, everyone knows when you're crying when you're in the pool, right? So this is what it looks like when you cry in the pool. And this is like cry, like not like, oh, I have like little tears running down my face. I'm crying, I'm mad. So you swim, right? And you go to breathe. So if you're in a pool with someone like that, do you want to hang out near them? Probably not. So before I knew it, the lane was full of people when I was swimming, and I'm swimming my laps, sounding like that. And slowly people are like, they're gone. We're not messing with that. We don't want to know. So I don't cry tons, but I was just like, I just felt like, ugh, like I didn't make the Olympic team in that event. I just needed to let it all out, just ugh. And so I like to warm down and just kind of be done, like warm down for however long and just like get out and go home, eat, start all over. And I was in that pool for a very long time. How long are your warm downs when you have your kids swim? Maybe 10 minutes. I was in there for like at least an hour. I mean, I did like 3,000 yards in there because I was crying the whole time. And I was like, I'm not going to stop because I don't want to talk to anybody. So I just kept swimming because I was trying to control my emotions and it wasn't happening. And by the time I was done with my warm down, it was a very long time. I kind of stopped. The beat was over and everyone kind of was gone. And my dad's in the stands. My dad, he's dorky like me. If you guys haven't figured that one out, us dorks run together. He's in the stands and he's waving me down and he's not far from me and he's yelling at me. So he's like the distance from me to you, right? And he's yelling at me. Your team left you. I'm like, shh, I know. He's like, I'll take you home. I was like, oh, great. So my dad took me home. My team did leave me. I stayed in that pool way too long. They're like, we're gone. I have athletes here that need to get ready for tomorrow. So they ditched me. My dad took me, there was a big family dinner at some restaurant that night. He's like, I'll take you to go eat with everybody and then we'll take you back to the hotel. And I walk in for dinner and I come in and I see my 2 older sisters. Anybody have older siblings? Are they as cruel to you as my siblings were? Do they like to tell you the truth even if you don't want to hear it? Oh yeah, that's my sisters. So I walk in and my 2 sisters are sitting there and my seat's right in front of them. I was like, and you know, you're still kind of like, after you've cried so much, you're still like you're still not there yet. My eyes are all red, my face is puffy, and I sit down and I just want to eat and be left alone. And my sisters just start attacking me. And they're just like, what was that? And I was like, I know, it sucked. I get it. And they're like, ooh, yeah, it was bad. And I was like, I get it. And like a tear started to well up again. And I was like, I know, it was bad. I get it. Please don't. I'm done. Like, please don't talk to me. And they kind of looked at each other and looked confused. And they're like, oh, gave me some attitude about it and stuff. And then they were like, we all flew out here to watch you do what you love to do. This is your passion. They said, you walked behind that block and looked miserable. You looked awful. You lost that race before you ever dove into that pool. And I was like, I was nervous. I'm scared. And they were like, well, why? Who cares? Who cares? Like, swim. That's what you do. And they're like, at what moment, because you know there's a moment, at what moment do you really start to get really nervous for your race? And I said, when I go into the ready room. Does anybody know what a ready room is in swimming? There's a clip from what Olympics was that with Michael Phelps? From the Rio Olympics. You guys have seen it, right? Yeah, okay. So there's a clip from, does anybody know who Michael Phelps is? He's kind of a decent swimmer. Yeah, he's all right. He's pretty impressive. Like, just to watch him swim in a practice, you're like, pull up a chair, you're like, oh, this is great. But he was at the Rio Olympics and it was a butterfly event and he's sitting in the ready room. So the ready room is literally a tiny little room with basically 8 chairs in it. Everyone that you're about to compete against, you get to huddle together right before you want to destroy each other, right? So let's say baseball team, we stick you in with your competitor, whatever team you're about to play against, right? We just stick you in a little room, quiet room, just stare at each other for 15 minutes. Good stuff, right? The things that go down in the ready room are pretty insane. So the clip that people love to like show at this Rio Olympics was Michael Phelps was sitting in the chair and he was like this. And then his competitor was a South African swimmer standing in front of him, shadow boxing. Like, so people have punched each other and spit on each other and scratched each other and done a lot of things to each other in the ready room. So it's this whole intimidating. And if you can tell, I'm not intimidating. So I sit in the ready room like, hey guys, how's it going? Good luck. So, but I have girls that I swim against that are the staring me down, pacing around me, you know, like, So I said the ready room, I get really nervous there. Like all of a sudden everything starts to boil up and they said, okay, well, you know, take someone with you to the ready room. It's like, can't do that. That's illegal. They said, well, just try, you know, like, let's figure out how to like calm your nerves during that time. So after dinner, I thought about what they said. I went back to my hotel room. I had a day off, and then I had my next event was the 200 breaststroke. I went and I swam it in the morning time, did pretty good. I think I made it back like 4th, somewhere around there. So that I was pretty pumped about that. I got a better lane in the pool. So it was gonna be a little bit better. All right. And then so I was at my finals and it's time for me to go to the ready room. So got my sweatsuit on, cap and goggles on, and I go over to my friend Katie, who's on my swim team. Now, does anybody have a friend, or you are the friend that's just a really good talker? Like can just talk about are you that, or you have a friend like that? You are that. Okay. You are a gem. Okay. So I have this friend, Katie, who could just, you can put her against facing the wall and she'll have a full on long conversation with the wall, you know, just blah, 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 blah. So I was like, I'm going to take Katie. So I go to Katie and I said, hey, will you go to the ready room with me? She said, sure. And she just starts. She doesn't ask why. She just goes with me and she just starts talking. And like, there's a person guarding the ready room door and they have the list of names who's allowed to come in. I wear a swim cap that says beard on it. So they go, oh, beard. Yep, you're good. And they look at her and she goes, oh, blah, 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 blah. And they go, mm-hmm, yep, of course. That's where you're a gem. You can do whatever you want. She comes in with me, we sit down and she just tells me every single little piece of gossip that's going on the swim team that I had no idea about. I'm sitting there like, it was like a soap opera. I'm sitting there listening. I was like, oh, really? and him and her and what? And so we're talking. I'm so invested in this conversation, like it's blowing my mind. And it's like, then they're like, all right, swimmers line up. It's ready to swim. She's still talking to me. I'm lined up, like walking out to race. And she's like, and I was like, Katie, I gotta go. Oh, good luck. And she just disappears. And I'm like, I'm in a completely different headspace at this time. You know, I'm just like, I didn't even notice the people around me. I start walking down the side of the pool, and you got teammates on the side high-fiving their other teammates. And I just start taking all the fives. Yeah. And they're like, no, not you. No, not yet me. That's cool. I walk behind the block. I'm somewhere in the middle of the pool now, much better lane space. I stand there. I find my family in the stands. I wave. My dad and I do like a thumbs up to each other. So I'm giving my dad the thumbs up. And then they say, all right, swimmers, step up, take your mark, go. Dive in the pool. And I felt so good. I just dove in. I felt strong and powerful. It felt easy. I got air. I got lots of air. I was breathing. It felt so good. If you're a swimmer, you know that breathing is like, it really is. You guys swim? Yeah, you don't get it. It just, when you get air, so I'm swimming. Now it's the 200 is 4 laps, right? So I swim 1, 2, 3. Ooh, it's starting to hurt now, right? Like I'm starting to get tired, but I still feel good. I can't really tell what's going on in the pool around me. I feel like there's someone over here and someone back here. I feel like I'm ahead of someone. So I was like, that's kind of cool. And keep swimming. And about 10 or 15 meters from the wall, I just like get covered with goosebumps. And I was like, what's happening? So my thought process was, one of 2 things is going to happen. One, I'm about to like completely pass out, and the lifeguard, which we do have at the Olympics and all our big meets, we have our lifeguards, and the lifeguard's going to have to rescue me in front of everyone. And it's going to be very embarrassing. Or 2, my body knows that something exciting and cool is about to happen, and it's getting all like pumped up and ready, right? So I'm like, okay, I had like 6 more strokes, swim, just really lunge in for my finish, touch the wall. I do that very dramatic slow motion, goggle up, slow turn. Just kidding. But I do. It feels like slow motion in the moment, but I look, and you know, like when you're doing your sports and like, I don't know, with swimmers, you kind of can't see that well. I smush my goggles on so tight, I almost swim cross-eyed. So I'm like trying to figure out how to like make like sense of all the shapes. And so I was like, oh, I found my name. And I see the number 2. And I launched out of the pool. My teammates tackled me. It was so exciting, so fun. I was so awesome. I was like, oh, I'm going to another Olympic Games. I literally just like, it was the most magical moment of my swimming career. And I walked away from that meet and got prepared for the Sydney Olympics. I was going to swim the 200 breaststroke because that's the only event I qualified in. I went to that meet, and I just was on this like real high, just feeling really confident and good coming off of that meet. I go at that Olympics, I made it 8th into the finals. So guess what lane I got? So good times. Yeah. So I'm in that outside lane, and my coach, before I walk out there, he's like, just leave it in the pool. Leave it all in the pool. Do not get out of that pool going, I should have, and I could have, just everything, dump it in there, just go. I don't think, go, just go. No strategy. I usually strategize my races a lot. He's like, just go, just race. And I was like, okay. So I go and I swim, and I got 3rd place. I got that bronze medal, the one with the blue strap. I got it by 3/100ths of a second, which is about a pinky nail. So I just squeaked into getting a medal. It was really awesome. But I go back and I think about that trials leading up to that moment, that whole situation. And it was a very defining moment of my career where I had 2 races, right? I had that 100 breaststroke and I had the 200 breaststroke. I had 1 day in between. And I had 2 very different outcomes because I approached them very differently. The first race, I quit, I gave up. Like my sister said, I lost before I dove into the pool. I mentally took myself out of the equation. All of those girls in that pool next to me, they all had the edge on me. They had me. I just threw my hands up. That second time, that 200 breaststroke, I just said, why not? Me, I'm gonna race. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be in this moment. I may never get this opportunity ever again in my life to stand behind this blocks and have this race. So I'm gonna take advantage of this. And I dove in and I made another Olympic team. Very different outcomes. Only thing that was different was how I mentally approached it, right? So it really trained my brain on how to mentally approach all of my races and everything that I did from that day forward. So after the Sydney Olympics and winning that bronze, I ended up continuing to swim. I made the 2004 Olympic Games, which ended up being my best Olympics. I won an individual gold medal, which was the gold medal with the colorful ribbon. So I won an individual gold medal, broke a bunch of world records, some American records, made that Olympics in 4 events. So 3 individuals and a relay. So it was by far my best. And I was older. Usually you don't go that way. You usually kind of start to decline as you get older, but I actually did better. But I always think it was how I mentally started approaching all my races. After the Athens Olympics, I continued to swim. I made the 2008 Olympic team. I failed to medal, but I had a lot of fun. So it was a wonderful meet for me. I didn't strategize the way that I wanted to. I continued swimming through 2012. I went to Olympic trials in 2012. I missed that team. I got 5th place, but that's okay. After that, I decided to retire. So that's where I am in my swimming career. Now I live in Washington State, very far away from where we are right now. I own and operate a swim facility. So I built out a swim facility. We have about 1,000 kids that come through every single week through our facility, learning how to swim and wanting to be just little swimmers or whatever aquatic adventure they want to take on. I have 2 kids. My son, Blaze, is a 13-year-old baseball player. My daughter, Dune, is a 9-year-old softball player. They both are great swimmers, but they chose land. So I am horrible on land. So it's new for me. The whole, and the hand-eye coordination thing, catching something and knowing where to throw it, no idea. So, but they both play water polo as well. And we just have a lot of fun living an adventurous life over in Washington State, where it's currently very rainy. So that's my story. So I'd love to open it up for some questions. Please ask questions. I know sometimes people get nervous or embarrassed to ask things, but it can be anything about sports, school. Really, you can ask anything. I work with little kids. They ask me everything. Good question. What was I doing with my original breaststroke that made it illegal? So breaststroke kick kind of looks like this, right? If these were your feet. My illegal breaststroke kick like this. So you have to almost like, if you had a mirror going down your body, breaststroke has to be basically the same on both sides. So my kick was whee all over the place, which like reprogramming my brain to figure that out was fun. Yes, all the way in the back. Probably to be a little nicer to myself. So I think throughout my swimming career, I was really hard on myself, which I think we do. We just happen to do that. I was hyper-focused, very much, I still do, like very bad OCD, really want to be a perfectionist, really want to perform. Looking back at it, I wish I gave myself a little bit more grace, allow myself to fall apart a little bit and fumble and stuff like that, because those were the moments when I really rebuilt myself and came back stronger. I didn't know it in the moment that that was what was going on. So I really mentally beat myself up a lot about that. So I wish I was just a little bit nicer to myself.